Hello everyone, this is where we left off with our last project. We were building that junction box for our maze. We pretty much have it done. We're going to go ahead and texture it now. We're going to go to our hypershade, create a new shader for it. Just go over to here, we'll go to panels, panel, and hypershade. So some of this stuff now is just going to be a little bit more rinse and repeat. So here we go. Create myself a new Lambert, call it Lambert Junction. I'm just going to attach it to this one here. Okay. Now to create the texture for this one, it's going to be a little bit different than the other ones because the other ones is like a single pane, just easy to attach. This object is a little more complicated, so we're going to have to grab some different textures. Probably have to use Photoshop to organize our UV sets. So we're going to have to organize. So that means we're going to have to project UVs and organize them. So let's go ahead and we'll just go to UVs. We'll go to Automatic Map. Okay, that just creates this little UV map set to work with to begin with. And we'll go to our split screen here. We'll go to Panels, Panel, and we'll go to UV Editor. Okay. There's our shells. Okay. So we're going to go to Polygons. We're going to create what's called a UV snapshot. Okay. This is just essentially taking a picture of the UVs, and we're going to send that over to Photoshop. So we'll go to Browse. I don't want it to go into images. I want it to be in source images, and we'll call it UV snapshot. I already had one from before, so I'm just going to go ahead and overwrite this one. But call it UV snapshots. Okay, and make it to where it's at 2K map. Otherwise, it's going to be too small. I think that mine is like 256 by default, and it's like way too small. Okay, so all that should be good. Go ahead and hit OK. Go ahead and override the one I had before. Okay, now we're going to jump into Photoshop to do some of this work here to get our textures together. We're going to go to Photoshop here. Here is my UV snapshot from before, but I'm just going to go ahead and close this one and create the new one. Yeah, I was doing a little bit of prep beforehand, so there it is, UV snapshot. We're going to go to Open. Okay, there we are. Now this is all black and really doesn't matter. Essentially, this is just kind of setting us up for our textures to get something to work with. I'm hoping that you guys are at least familiar with Photoshop. This isn't going to be a tutorial on Photoshop either, so you're going to have a little bit of experience in how this works. So either that or you're just going to have to pay close attention to what I'm doing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock the background, so I'll just double click on the layer over here. Okay, and I'll just call this one UV back. Okay. And I also don't want it to be black. Let's go ahead and change that to black lines for my shells and then white background. So I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to go to Inverse. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to jump into Google and look for some textures. Now if you're a 2D texture artist, you want to create your own sci-fi textures, by all means this is your playground. But for this lesson I don't have time to do that, so I'm just going to go ahead and borrow some stuff like I have before and utilize it for our textures. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to borrow this one. Save image as. Okay, I'll save that my source images. Should that be fine? Let's see what else. I'll take one of those. I was trying to open it up on this side. You guys can't really see what I'm doing because I have it over on a separate screen. So I'll put it here so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. Save that one. And let's see here. Maybe I'll save this one too. This one looks like it. This is too small. And it's kind of small. Eh. Maybe this one. Sure, let's save a couple of those. Okay, over here looks interesting. Windows 10, I always want to try to open this previewer for me. Figure out how to turn that off. Okay, maybe just one more, and then we'll get to it. Sure. Save that one too. Here, this way might be interesting. No, stop doing that. Close. It's interesting, but it has this electric shock, which looks like it would be dynamic, and if it's static on the wall, it might not be as cool as it is in this picture. So, looks cool, but I think I want to stay away. This could be our ground, so I'll go ahead and save that one. I think our samples here are starting to fill up a little bit, and maybe this one too. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna call it. This is good enough. Let's go ahead and start working here. I'm trying to open stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and organize our samples. So we're going to go and open what we just downloaded. And here we're going to open this one. Okay. Just open all of them rather than doing them one at a time. Make things easier. Let's see, I want that one. And not sure if I tested that one or not. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so now what I gotta do is I gotta take all these guys and then put them onto one image. So the idea here is that by taking these textures and condensing them down to one cell, it makes it to where I can use all these different textures to texture a larger area with one larger image. So I don't have to use a ton of maps. I can use one map to kind of cover a lot of ground. Okay, so I'm going to use my selection tool here. Let's select all this. I'm going to hit Control C and go back more. Let's see, where did that go? It got pushed off to the side over here. Maybe it's, oops, what did I do? There we go, UV snapshot. That's what I wanted. Okay, then we'll go Control V. When you do Control V, it'll make it to where it creates its own layer automatically right there. Now I just need to move it, put it up over here. Now it is kind of small. I might make this a little bit bigger, probably will, most likely to work with this. But I don't want to scale it until I have the rest of the images in here. So let's go back to this one here and borrow that one. Hit Control C again. Let's go to my arrow, go to UV snapshot. Hit Control V. Create myself another layer. Go ahead and move this one. Let's move it over here for now. Okay. Let's go ahead and see here what we got. Okay, we're done with that one. Just go ahead and close it. Let's see about this one. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Just borrow this texture here. Now this one looks like a border, but I think that we can still take it anyway. So let's just go ahead and hit Control C. Take that one. Go back to UV snapshot. We'll hit Control V. And we'll move this guy in. Let's just, doesn't matter. Once we have them all in here, we'll reorganize and rescale. Okay, so moving on, let's close this one out. Let's see about this guy over here. Okay. Oh, I might not use all. I just want them as options for right now. definitely want this one to be in there. Control C. Now, I'm not going to include all these images in some kind of Dropbox, and the reason why is because they're not mine. So taking someone else's stuff and giving it away just seems like it's asking for trouble. But all it is just Googled sci-fi wall textures, and you get a plethora. So just go at it. Okay, so that's all of them. I don't need to change this one. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start to organize here. Okay, so this one's going to be my ground texture. So this is going to be one wall. This will be one wall. I think that this one I might not actually end up using. Looks like it'd be good for a door, but I don't think that for me it's going to work. So maybe I'll just can this one. So just hit this trash can button for that layer. Sure, that's going to be gone. Okay, so that means that with these other textures, I want to actually scale them up so that they take up more texture information. Okay, so this one at the top here, I'm just going to go ahead and move it up over here. I'm going to hit Control T. I'm working on a Windows box, FYI. I'm just going to scale this up a little bit. Okay. This one here, let's go ahead and just move that up. Move this other one down. Control T, I'll scale this one until it butts up against the next one here. Now something you're going to want to be aware of, since we are dealing with one map for everything, is that we can't utilize that feature where things are seamless and you just scale the UVs up really big and it makes sure this replicates a whole bunch. What we're going to have to do is we're going to make sure that each face set that we want is covering this individually. So we'll have to cut up our UV sets to match this up. Okay. Okay, we're going to scale this one. Yep, go ahead and apply. Need a little bit more. Almost there. Okay, and last one. This guy over here. Control T. Now, yes, typically I would say for these layouts, I normally do use name conventions for those as well, using names telling me what all these layers are, but for time's sake, I'm just going to skip that particular phase for this one. If you want to, I mean, all you have to do is just double click down here and just say, you know, wall pipes, and you know, I guess I'm going through it anyway, so wall 01. I need to do that. I don't need special effects. That's what we need. Wall 2, and just in case I come back in here and don't want my own skipping steps to come back to bite me. Alright, so let's go ahead and file, save as, and we'll call this one UV snapshot in. Actually, let's be a little more descriptive here. We're going to call this UV junction X4. Okay, we'll do a save there. Okay, and we'll also do, because we're not going to be opening up a PSD file, we're going to open up a JPEG. So we're going to go to File, Open, and we're going to open up, or sorry, not open, File, Save As, and we're going to change this from a PSD down to JPEG, Targa, TIFF, any of those will be fine. Targa is typically what I'm going to use, so let's go ahead and stay with that. UV junction, there we go. That's good. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's just turn Photoshop off for now because we're done for now with Photoshop. Okay. So now we're ready to plug in our texture into our shader. So we're going to select our model, go to Attribute Editor. I'm not going to close this out. This is where we're going to do most of our next set of work. Delete the history on this guy. And then go to Lambert on the end here. Go to the color attribute. Click on the checker box here. I'm going to go to File. Go to Folder. And I'm going to go to UV Junction Targa. Go to Open there. There we go. Just select this model here. Okay, so now you can see the textures are all over here, and I need now to organize them so they look right on our actual injection here. So I'm going to go to, let's go shell. We'll select all the shells, and we'll move them off to the side here so we can organize ourselves, right? Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and we're going to look for this shell. It's this one right here, right? Okay, so if we were to take this one here and just stick it right on top here, so let's go to shell again, select this guy, and put it right on top of there. That might work, it might be a little bit too big. See if we scale this up to fit. Might be okay. Let's see here. Let's come on the inside. I think the player is about this big. That does look pretty big. I think that we want that to be different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually fix this one particular piece here. Just because the vertex is, if I go and start separating this, this isn't going to be very even. So I need these to actually be like this. X-ray on. Okay. I'll have to redo the auto map because otherwise that squiggle there. Let's see here. I'm gonna go face. Let's isolate this part here. Yeah, that'll be okay. Okay, so redo the map. The reason what I'm doing here, guys, is as I move the UVs around, you can tell it's making the texture stretch, which makes it to where if I cut these apart and want to use it to overlay the textures in there by hand, I can't do that because the UVs aren't straight, or the vertexes aren't straight, so that also makes it to where the UVs are not straight when I go to adjust it by hand. So I'll just go back and reproject real quick, and then I'll make my adjustment. Okay, so UV, auto map, I'll pause back in there. Okay, grab all these guys, just move them off to the side. Okay, now I can grab this shell right here, go back to doing the ground, bring that back in here. Let's see here. Let's see if I can take this one piece here. See if I can cut those two there. I changed the tools up here a little bit, so cut UV tool, I believe that should do it, and then I should be able to grab Okay, that didn't work the way I was expecting it. The way they used to be is that let's see. Yeah, there we go. They changed it so it's not quite the same. All right, so come on, cut UV tool. That's what I want. I'm gonna cut this one over here too. So there's left mouse button dragging. This used to be you can just select the edges and then say I want to cut the UVs right here, and then it would just do a perfect dissection. Now they made it to where you have to drag it along the edge, and then it pushes them apart, which ain't near as cool because that displaces it. Maybe you can make it lower. Let's try that. 0.02. Let's just experiment and see if yeah, that'll work. That's a little bit better of a dissection. I guess we'll do that one too then. There we go. Alright, so now I have these individual islands. I go to shell, select this shell here, and I can actually just take each one of these shells and just move them out. So W, just move them off to the side over here. Oh, the joy of UV mapping. Now, UV mapping is done in a bunch of different ways. This is just one of many ways to do it. You can take this into an external program and texture this by hand. But this is just one way of getting it done. Okay, so let's scale this one up and out. Okay, so I have this whole panel here is taken up. I kind of like this, but I think that's kind of weird as far as walking over it. So let's do something where we're kind of taking like this venting part here. So let's take this part here, and we can actually organize it over the top of this piece. That would be kind of cool. All right, I'll scale this piece up. The little flange piece sticking out the end I'm not really concerned about because that's going to be sticking out the door. Okay, see how that looks. I think that looks pretty cool over there. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the same thing to this other side. Go to shell, grab this piece here, go ahead and bring this one over, and we'll do the same thing. How does soft select get turned on? I'm like, what is going on here? It's not wanting to work. What's going on here? It's like Maya's lagging a little bit. Let's see what's going on over here. Option mode. Okay, so something got turned on. It's messing with my stuff. Oh, I see. This UV thing's still on. Okay, so we need to go to a different tool. We'll go to, let's say we're going to add an insert actually. There we go. And now we're going to go back to selection. Sometimes in my some tool might get stuck on, and then it becomes a problem later on. Okay, so I'm going to go back to shell mode. Looks like this one. Okay, well, it's behaving a little bit wonky. I'm at 26 minutes anyway, so I think that I'm going to go ahead and save now, and then I will refire Maya back up, and then we'll take off in the next lesson. Alright, so thanks for watching. If all else fails, we'll just go ahead and, like I said, we'll restart this this program here, and we'll pick up right where we left off. So, save scene, continue. Okay. Alright, I will see you guys in the next project. Thanks for watching.